Hello YouTube, this is Chris Gillenberg, Paranormal Services. In today's video, I've spent all day um, researching this video because it's something that everybody needs to know, something I've been saying for a long time. I'm going to try to make it as short as possible. Um, I don't know when I'm going to be making another video. I'm going to try to make little ones here and there, but my wife's going in for her knee surgery tomorrow morning. So anyway, I've been working on this all day to try to get it, all the information I could. A lot of this stuff was buried really deep. Some of this stuff I just barely came across today. Um, YouTube is owned by Google, and Google is in bed with the government. Like I've been saying, like I've been telling you guys in streams, in videos. If I know you guys personally in person, and you guys argue with me, some of you guys, and you act like you know what you're talking about, and in some ways you do, in some ways you don't. Okay, and this is not for any of it for our good. It's for New World Order. It's for Big Brother. It's for uh, it's for pretty much mind control. It's for everything. Okay, and the elite, the Illuminati's agenda. This is a part of their puzzle. Okay, as you see here, YouTube is an American video sharing website headquartered in San Bernardino, California. The service was created by three former PayPal employees, Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim, in February 2005. Google bought the site in November 2006 for $1.65 billion dollars. YouTube now operates as one of Google's subsidiaries. Okay, and I'm sure you're probably looking at that, the ones that have disagreed with me on this for a while now, and went and oh, that's just Wikipedia. You can't trust Wikipedia. Well, I kind of figured you'd said that. So I'm on actual YouTube here, as you see. Um, Went under policy, so I could, because some of it, you have to click on certain things to see this. Please note that YouTube is a Google company. Look at that again. Please note that YouTube is a Google company. Okay? That's right on YouTube's website. Right here. YouTube.com. I'm signing into my account and everything. All right? So let's go to the next one. Now I'm gonna the Julian Assange video is like 32 minutes long. I'm not gonna play all of it. There's another video I'm gonna play you as well. It's like 4 minutes long. I'm telling you, the elite have a lot of these people in their back pocket, whether they created them or they bought them out. Microsoft is another one that is in bed with the government. Okay, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to corner all the big markets. Um, uh, you know, Google, um, PayPal, Facebook, Twitter, so on and so on, so they can monitor everything we're saying, everything we're doing. They can use it to promote stuff for their agenda that we're going to see so much of that we're going to end up a lot of people are going to end up mimicking it, whether it's being alcoholic, drug user, infidelity, uh, so on and so on and so on. Okay, uh, wars, hating each other, separating us so that we're not fighting them. Okay, I'm trying real hard right now to keep my calm. Anyway, um, how the CIA made Google and Surge an intelligent medium. Does U.S. government secretly own Google? Answer.com. Yes, they do. It's a giant corporation or conspiracy to corner the market on internet search engines that control all the information. Um, Here's another one. First Microsoft, now Google. Does the government have it all in for dot dot dot? And then you got Google wins $35 million U.S. government contract over Microsoft. Assange, Google is not what it seems. And if you YouTube that, that's how I found this video here. I mean, it's a long laundry list, guys. Please listen to me. Please wake up before it's too late. I'm talking to the Republicans. I'm talking to the Democrats. I'm talking to everybody. Okay? Because I've seen Republicans that are good people, and I've seen ones that were fooled, and they're still good people. I've seen Democrats that were, had the right belief system and good people, and then I've seen ones that were good people, but they were fooled. Same thing with the ones that are in the middle that aren't Republican and aren't Democrat. I've seen it on all sides. Okay? We need to wake up. And I'm still backing and supporting Trump, just to be very clear on that. Uh, and I think that's why they're fighting him so bad, is because he's fighting against stuff like this. And you can disagree with me all you want on that. I don't care. That's just how I see it. So anyway.
The latest odd couple, Google, is turning to the National Security Agency, who you heard Mr. Jones mention just a minute ago, to protect itself from hackers in the wake of a cyber attack it believes came from China. Now, the NSA conducts surveillance and code breaking for the federal government, but it also has a long history of spying. Here to talk about the pairing is historian Webster Tarpley. Webster, thanks for joining us. Now, this is kind of a turnaround for Google, who has really not been in cahoots with Washington before over surveillance. In fact, they've resisted them significantly. So what does this mean that they're, in essence, turning to the enemy for help?
Let me say, first of all, I think quite the contrary. They've always been intimately linked and may indeed have been founded by the U.S. intelligence community, as I'll try to show. Remember, but now this is the National Security Agency. It used to be the most secretive. This is cyber espionage, and their mission is quite simply to monitor everybody's electronic communications, everybody's SIGINT, as they call it. So it's hard to imagine how they can object to somebody hacking when their mission is basically to hack the entire.
And on this video right here, it's the news. I have I have under fair use. I'm able to use it because he hasn't made any changes to it, or yeah, John Riggs, whatever. Yeah, John Riggs. So as far as I can tell, I have fair use to use it.
Entire world.
Well, couldn't you argue they know it best, so they would be able to fight it best?
Well, this is, of course, a policy of confrontation with China, which is now opening up a cyber warfare theater, which I think is absolute folly. The news is that Google is now openly in alliance with the NSA in response to these attacks, which Google claims, and I stress that because there's no independent confirmation of any of this, Google claims that China hacked Google, and now they're joining with the NSA. What we learned from the Washington Post article of February 4th is...
And if you look, let's see here, when was this uploaded? This was uploaded 2010. So Trump wasn't even office then. He wasn't even running for office then.
Not for the first time. We're told that over the past decade, not just Google, but Silicon Valley companies in general have been turning to the U.S. intelligence community, the NSA, for guidance and protection. And we're also told that it's not just the NSA, but the NSA is the lead agency of the entire U.S. intelligence community. So we've now got a cartel where Google joins with the NSA. It's a cartel sponsored by the CIA, the NSA, and they're going to essentially engage in cyber warfare with China. What they hope to gain from this, I do not know.
Okay, you mentioned these other Silicon Valley companies, but until now, Google has been one of the ones that has resisted pressure from Washington to turn over records, even taking them to court over the issue. So how can you just group Google with all of those other companies?
I'm afraid this is eyewash. This is essentially an attempt to create a cover story. It's true that Google claims that they did not cooperate with the terrorist surveillance project back in 2007, 2008. But let's just look at two important things. Who founded Google? How did Google get this tremendous supremacy starting in the late 90s? Well, it turns out that there's a CIA proprietary nonprofit company called In-Q-Tel. And In-Q-Tel, created back in 1999 or so under Norman Augustine, he's a famous industrial military complex entrepreneur. Their goal was to invest in the most advanced IT and cyber companies so that the U.S. intelligence community would always be at the forefront. Did they invest in Google? We know they did at least at one point. CIA created Project Keyhole, the satellite imaging of the surface of the Earth. Project Keyhole was sold to Google, and it became Google Earth. And that's what you can see online. And this was a couple of $1 million of startup capital from In-Q-Tel. Now, the other aspect, does Google really object to censorship. Well, people in this country know they don't. Case in point, a famous FBI whistleblower, Sybil Edmonds, was about to testify in Congress. She had a story which was very damaging to the U.S. official account of 9/11. She happened to have her blog at Google Blog. Right before she was going to testify, Google blocked her blog. And she was not accused of anti-state activity or something like this, but of spamming. So she was found guilty of spamming, and they shut down her blog at a critical time. This is one of dozens of examples that we could cite of how...
On that there, I have a YouTube friend that I made, and he was telling me, he's a Trump supporter as well, that he had, somebody had made a comment to him that was good about Trump. It was talking good about Trump. And it went to the spam folder, which I get that a lot, especially on certain comments or certain people. And all he did was check the approve button to approve the comment to be visible. He gets an email or a message from YouTube telling him he was misusing the comment section. And this was on his own own channel, by the way. Misusing the comment section, and then if he did it again, that he would be in trouble. I don't remember now exactly what they said. I think he said he'd lose his comment privileges for 30 days. I think is what they told him. Are you kidding me? But I keep getting comments of sexual orientation towards me, towards my mom, towards people in my comments, racist and bigotry and all kinds of stuff, and that's okay. Those never, hardly ever go to my spam box. And they're allowed to do it. And they'll make separate accounts. If I block them, they'll make other accounts to come and comment on my videos and my streams. And that's the thing, too. If I block them, it should be completely blocked. They should not be able to keep coming and commenting. Even with the same channel, I've had it where the comment will still go through, and I won't be able to find it to delete it. And sometimes I'll get other people that are commenting, and I'm like, who are you talking to? And they're all, I'm talking to this person. And I'm like, well, I just blocked that person last week. You know, see what I'm saying? And if I block them, I should be able to block them off of my YouTube live stream as well. So it's not set up for us. It's not set up for any of us. You know, and you people that are out there thinking that it's set up for you, and you think we're the bad guys and we're the bad people and we're the hate mongering, gay bashing, racist bigots, you're wrong. Yeah, we may not agree with everything you say and you do, but we're not out to try to hurt you. That's what they're doing, because you're a sheep to them just as much as we are. You're disposable. You got to understand that. They're leading you by your nose right to the slaughter.
How the hypocrisy of Google can be shown through what they've actually done, as distinct from a couple of high-profile stunts that they've pulled in public to try to accredit themselves as being independent, and they're not. And now it's clear in public that they're not.
Well, Webster Tarpley, thank you so much for giving us this different point of view, trying to connect Google to the intelligence of the federal government long before this news that Google is officially working with the NSA. We're calling this.
And I'm going to prove that up here that they are. And with the CIA documents that I have, here's Julian Assange. I'm going to play maybe 10 minutes of it. I do strongly recommend that you go and watch all this video. And if I don't happen to read all the articles, all the documents up here from this, these are CIA reading room. See, I strongly recommend that you go check all these out. If there's any doubt, even if there's no doubt in your mind, before you even watch this video, I strongly recommend that you go watch the rest of this video at the end, and any of the documents, or even if I do read them all, go back and read them for yourself. Always go and check and recheck and double check, because, you know, even though we're on the right side, we could be wrong. You know, we may have missed something or whatever. And I've had that happen. So anyway, let's get on with this.
With me is the founder of WikiLeaks. He's just published When Google Met WikiLeaks. Julian, thanks for inviting us into the Ecuadorian embassy. How did it come about that you could trust Google executives, one of the most powerful companies on earth, coming to meet you while you were under virtual house arrest.
Well, I'm not sure that I trusted them any more than they trusted me, but it was...
Oh, and I'm going to say one more thing, too, before I push play again. Okay, I keep getting these stupid-ass comments. Oh, you're a Trump supporter. You can't be backing me. You can't. That's why you don't back me. That's why you don't support me. And I'm like, no, I don't like you, and I don't support you because of what you do and what you say and how you act and how you treat people. And because you're blindfolded, and I don't want to have no part of that. You don't want to listen to me, and all you want to do is put down, ridicule, and just be retarded. Well, then go do that somewhere else. Julian Assange has came out and vocally said he did not like Trump. He does not like Trump. He can't stand Hillary, didn't want her in office. But he didn't want Trump in office either. Okay? The WikiLeaks files that he was putting out on her was because that was true. There was nothing there to put out on Trump. That's why he wasn't putting anything out on Trump. He even said that in an interview. Okay? So before you start thinking all of us Trump supporters are racist and we're bigots and we're homophobes and we can't stand you because you don't back Trump and support Trump, you need to stop listening to the brainwashing media. You need to stop listening to the elite. You need to stop listening to the powers that be, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, because that's exactly what they want. Like I keep telling you, they want us to fight each other because we're fighting each other. We don't fight them. We're killing each other. We don't destroy them. Okay? We've already done 99% of their job. Then you got their population control. Anyway, let's get back to this.
It was a very interesting meeting between the most senior executive of Google, Eric Schmidt, now the chairman of Google, and myself during the middle of the Arab Spring. With a secret meeting, and 3 other people also brought by Google to that meeting.
What did you think they were there for?
Well, nominally they were there in order to write a book on geopolitics and how the world would unfurl, and to conduct an interview with me. And I thought that probably was most of the reason why they're there. Also maybe to speak to Google staff to try and make them look a bit less conservative and to get supportive of their engineers, and to try and get more strategic vision for how they wanted to deploy Google over the world and what were upcoming developments that I might know about that they might not. But it turned out things were rather different.
At that time, before Snowden, before other elements from WikiLeaks, we didn't really know that the Don't Be Evil company was so entwined with elements of the US security state. And I know in this transcript, which makes up this book, it's a point you want to make. Eric Schmidt, his father worked in the Nixon administration, and he'd just written a book called Empire of the Mind, which you had read. Or no?
Well, I hadn't at that stage. He had written an essay together with Jared Cohen immediately. He was then still Hillary's advisor, called Empire of the Mind. And that was right before the Arab Spring. And so as a result, there was a lot of interest in their sort of vision for what all that meant. And they went on to write a subsequent book, which is Google's vision, geopolitical vision for the world.
And that got endorsements as well?
You notice the name Hillary is in there, right? And he was her advisor?
From Tony Blair and Henry Kissinger?
They got endorsements from Tony Blair, Henry Kissinger, Madeleine Albright, a cast of warmongers or actual war criminals, pre-publication, all set up pre-publication. And Henry Kissinger is in fact one of the central people in that book. But, you know, it's fine for people to write books. The question to me became, why was that book written? It's a very, very strange book.
And you actually met Jared Cohen. He was one of the people that came to meet you. And this is a man, and we must say that this interview is being conducted just days after the US Congress has authorized military aid to so-called moderate Islamists in Syria. There are airstrikes in Iraq. Tell me about this Jared Cohen.
So Jared Cohen was the previous advisor for Hillary. He jumped from Hillary to work to being the head of Google Ideas. And Google Ideas is an in-house State Department that Google runs. Its functions are essentially the same as the US State Department, to make alliances with various people, to bring together activists and security generals and so on, bring them together under Google Ambit, and create various forms of networking, and even in some cases actively intervene with different governments to try and destabilize them.
Now, I've read the book and listened to the audio recording. It's quite friendly. But in Empire of the Mind, there are clear sentences in here, things like greater transparency in all things is a dangerous model.
Yeah, the position being pushed forward by Google at its most senior executive level to Washington is that it is the state who should determine what is published and what is not published. There should be a state body that oversees whistleblowing organizations, and they have to go through that state body before they can release material.
And it's not just Jared Cohen. Jared Cohen's past and provenance. He used to work with a woman called Anne-Marie Slaughter, who's been in a lot of TV studios in America, head of the New American Foundation, and she's saying Britain usually involved as well, in covert funding in Ukraine.
That's right. Anne-Marie Slaughter, there's quite a very interesting network. Let me pull back a bit because it will get quite confusing if we go into all the details. But Google, at that executive level, has a revolving door with the State Department, and it is trying to become America's geopolitical visionary, because it is a company that is enmeshed into the world, into every single country, billions of people using Google services, Google collecting all that information from all those people, their emails, their geographic locations if they use Android-powered phones, and so on. And then the National Security Agency piggybacking on the top of Google and pulling information out of Google. So Google has a lot of room to argue that it is the edge of the way the world is developing economically and in terms of information and in terms of geopolitics, because it has to deal with all these countries. So the Empire of the Mind and the subsequent Google book is a calling to Washington, not to the general public, because it's not really a book that's readable by the general public, but a calling to Washington. And that's why those figures such as Henry Kissinger and Tony Blair and Madeleine Albright are there giving pre-publication endorsements. That's my interpretation.
When you say 6 billion retinas see that Google homepage every day, they were advertising a John Kerry speech when America and, of course, Britain the governments wanted to get their people to endorse the bombing of Damascus.
Right, so Google has a lot of advertising power. Its homepage, the most people see that per day, more than anything else. Billions of people see various Google pages, whether they're from YouTube or the main search page or on the Android phone. So that gives Google intense ability not only to collect information about what people are doing, but also to project what it wants to those people. There has been a perception.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Big Brother, and also it's brainwashing. They can project predictive television, telling you what they're going to do, or hiding what they already did. Excuse me. Or brainwashing you to do whatever they want. You know how many times that I've had when the elections were going on, that I had Hillary videos, and I had people telling me that I had Hillary ads from AdSense running on my stuff. Like I was supporting Hillary. And what that was not necessarily to get people to believe that I was supporting Hillary because they knew better, but it was to get them to see her in a different way before they would hear me. Or it depends on what the video was titled or whatever, and it still does. And they'll play just the opposite. 9 times out of 10, if it's something that's against their agenda, they'll play something opposite, completely opposite. So before you even get to watch my video or my live stream or somebody else's, you're automatically preconditioned for a certain mindset. Even if you don't realize you are, subconsciously you're preconditioned. So anyway, I'm just going to play a few more minutes of this.
Previously, that people just pay for ads and then Google displays those ads, and it doesn't actively intervene in terms of its ability to influence. That is not true. In fact, during the most intense moment of the debate in US Congress whether Syria was to be bombed or not bombed. Google, on its homepage, put up a link in red, highlighted, to point directly to the Kerry speech.
Well, I mean, that's one shocking piece of information. You did a couple of mainstream interviews about this book. Google, very quick to say, and perhaps uphold their countercultural public relations image and say, at no point do we have this connection, and we certainly don't give all the data you just said to the National Security Agency.
The statement is written, it seems, by lawyers, and you have to be careful. They didn't actually say that. What they said is they don't give direct access to their servers to the National Security Agency. But that's not how the prison system works. How the prison system works is Google maintains a server, and the FBI is involved at a sort of formal level in maintaining those interception servers, and then the National Security Agency is able to access those. So it's, but in practice, as we've seen, it's well documented in the Snowden documents. The National Security Agency can search most of Google's data for what it wants and does.
How do you think Britain fits in with these sorts of policies and how Google works? Are there top-level connections between Google and our government?
Well, there's been reportage from the Snowden material that Google's internal network has also been mass intercepted by the National Security Agency. So a number of things are going on here. You have Google as an institution. It is now the second largest company by market capitalization, $400 billion in the US, and it's growing ever faster and penetrating other countries. Even countries like China, which are perceived to be more or less free from Google because they've excluded Google really from the search market there, and they have Baidu. But all these smartphones mean that Google, in fact, is pulling lots of data out of China. Then you have Google's relationship, which is I document in the book, with the National Security Agency and the defense sector in the US. And that goes way back. In fact, to the very first paper that initiated Google was funded in part by DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Since 2002, Google has been involved in formal contracts with the National Security Agency of the United States. And then there is the National Security Agency intercepting Google's internal communications and communications that go to Google. So what we have here is a mixture of voluntary.
See, guys, that is Big Brother. All around, that is Big Brother. All the information, anytime you're on your cell, anything that's connected to the internet, Wi-Fi, your cell phones, whatever, anything that's connected to those, and it even gets into this video, and I don't know if it'll get to that part. I'm not going to play much longer of it. I don't want to keep this video very long. I want to make this video short, rather. Anything that you, pictures, videos, text messages, whether your messages on Facebook, your communications on Google Hangouts, everything they know about. They hear, they see, they know everything. Okay, that's why I keep tape on my my laptop's camera. That's why, because I know I got a second mic, I keep it on my mic and camera. My PS4 is the camera's unplugged. My PS3, the same thing. It was unplugged unless I was using it. And I know I got a second mic on my laptop. I don't know where it's at, but I know I got one. Because if I do Google Voice search with my one camera taped or my one mic taped by my camera, it still picks me up crystal clear. So I know I got another camera somewhere or a microphone. So what I do is my PS4 headset that I have, it's Turtle Beaches. It's got a little control box and it's got a mute function on it. And what I do is either I'll mute it or I'll turn it off and I'll unplug the mic and the whole headset, because that unplugs out of the box of the control panel for the headset. And so now that disables all mics on my laptop because it reads it as it thinks there's a mic on it. See? So anyway, be smart, guys. This is what I've been telling you about and warning you about. You guys have been making fun. Some of you guys have been making fun of me and calling me stupid, and I'm just trying to get views, and I'm just trying to get subscribers, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm a tinfoil hat wearer, and I'm a conspiracy theorist, and blah 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 blah. No, there's a reason why I believe what I believe. Okay, and if we don't stop this now, and I've had a lot of the older gentlemen and older ladies that follow me and stuff, which I don't find you old, and you know who I'm talking about. There's a few of you out there that follow me. Is it even if it's not in our lifetime, we have our kids and our grandkids and their kids and so on and so on, our families and our friends and people we don't even know, other human beings on this earth that we have to try to help. I want to leave a better America and a better earth than what it was when I was a kid. Okay? And I'm sure you guys do as well. That's why you're here watching this. We all have to take our stand. We all have to do what we have to do. Okay? And do it the proper right way. Don't do how they do it. With deception and lies and selling out and not being who you are. Anyway, get back to this.
Interaction at a sort of contract official level, social interaction at the level of senior executives of Google, and then we have coerced interaction, where just the fact that Google is collecting all this material, and that is part of its business model, to collect as much information about people and how they behave, to generate profiles of them, to make them as predictable as possible for advertising, that can then be intercepted. Even if the voluntary aspect of Google withdraws, even if the social aspect in terms of the network that Eric Schmidt is embedded in withdraws, or the in-house mini State Department they have, Google Ideas, withdraws. The very fact that Google's business model is to collect as much information about people as possible, to make them as predictable as possible, means that the National Security Agency is just going to piggyback on top of that.
So what about all the breathless news we get about Google Glass? We shouldn't be as it shouldn't be seen as so benign.
Well, I mean, Google Glass is possibly a realization of some Orwellian horror, in the sense that this places Google between your eyes and the world. So not only is Google collecting your email if you use Gmail, if you use Android phone, not only is it collecting what you're thinking about when you're searching, your location information if you use Android phone, what interests you have on YouTube and so on, but we're able to collect directly the images that you are pulling through.
I use an Android phone. How much?
Well, 80% of phones now sold that are smartphones are Android, 80%, and that figure is increasing.
So I do want you to mention the Dr. Strangelove moment when you're trying to get hold of Hillary Clinton, widely seen as the next Democratic presidential contender.
All right, so what happens? Eric Schmidt, these Google senior executives come to see me, Eric Schmidt and 3 other people. I don't think too much about the 3 other people at the time, and we have this interesting conversation, which is documented in the book. And then a little bit later, I need to speak to the most senior person in the State Department. Hillary is the most senior person. And so we try to arrange that call, and for people who are maybe not familiar with these things, if you get your PA to try and arrange something with someone else's PA in some big departments, actually you can get up pretty high pretty quick. And there was this Dr. Strangelove moment where the State Department is saying, who wants to talk to Hillary, Julian Assange? Come on, is it really Julian Assange? How can we prove that it's Julian? How can you prove it's Julian Assange, et cetera, et cetera? And so we start progressing up the levels. And then we get a statement that there'll be a callback, which is not unsurprising, to check, et cetera. And we do get communications back, but we get them through a back channel. One of my other staff members who had arranged the Schmidt visit, the visit by Google, he got the call. And he got the call
Even though you call
he-
the State Department, not
He got the
Google.
call from Eric Schmidt's then girlfriend, Lisa Shields, who doesn't work nominally for the State Department. She's the Chief of Communications of the Council of Foreign Relations. So the call came in, Julian wants to talk to Hillary. Okay, well, we need to make a back channel in the State Department. Who do we know? That, oh, that's right. Lisa Shields was just out there because we were told all about it. So get Lisa to be the back channel. So there we have a circumstance where the senior executive of Google was literally in bed with the State Department.
But Julian, ever the publisher, even with a tag around.
All right, guys, that's all I'm going to play of that because, like I said, I want to try to keep this as short as possible. Like I said, I do recommend that you go watch this video in its entirety. All the links will be in the description. Let's move on to the next one here. Who he's talking about, that is Eric Schmidt right there. He's executive officer in Google Inc. So that's who Snowden is, or not Snowden. Julian Assange is talking about. All right, here's one of the documents here on the CIA.gov. It's a subject re-Google contract, September 7th, 2004. Look at this, guys. It says, I think some of the ways these items are phrased is going to cause some confusion here. In particular, John pointed out to me that the product description in both the line items should be revised. Should read version 3.4 and as opposed to 4.4 times, which is not yet released in the 808. In the support references, it is also incorrect. Can we modify this to read Google Search Appliance version 3.4, and it is blocked out, to include update services and maintenance for 2 years, and fee for government's retention of hardware packages, and then it's blocked out again. And then it says special payment provision, tying payments into delivery and acceptance causes as revenue recognition problems as well, not in control. Let's see here. Let me see if I find the part where I'm talking about. Let's see here. All right, this is the other one. Go back and read all that document. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this short. I'm just going to read the top part here to this one here. This one here is Google Inc. Beta Evolution Agreement. Google Search Appliance pre-release version 4.2 and 4.4. This beta evolution agreement for Google Search Appliance pre-release version 4.2 and 4.4. The agreement is entered into the 19th of November 2004 by and between Google Inc. gives their address, and then it says Google again, and the Central Intelligence Agency, evaluator, or you. By accepting this agreement, you enroll in the Google Beta program for the Google Search Appliance pre-release version 4.2 and 4.4 beta program. Okay, let me see here. This here, what is a search appliance? Is a type of computer appliance which is attached to a corporate network for the purpose of indexing content searched across the network in a way that is similar to a web search engine. So in other words, pretty much what Julian Assange was saying, every time you search something, every time you do anything that's why you have to log in when you have an Android phone. You have to make a Gmail account and you have to sign in with that Gmail account, or you cannot use that cell phone. That's one of the reasons why. All right, so okay, it's the one I just read. Okay, here's another document here, another contract. If you notice, it says it's to Ted Nimitz, 12/6/2004, Google Beta Agreement. Please comment. Here you go. Please sign and fax back to me at, and it blocks the number out. Thank you, Todd. Okay. Here's another one. Look at this. This one is real interesting here. Uh, I think it's only one page, I think. Yeah. All right. This is subject commercial list prices versus GSA. Well, let me show you what a GSA is so you guys know what a GSA is. Okay. A GSA schedules are fast and easy, effective contracting vehicles for both customer and vendors. For GSA schedules, GSA established long-term government-wide contracts with commercial companies to provide access to millions of commercial products and services at volume discount prices. Okay. Thanks for your time this morning. As we discussed, you may purchase the either room either from Google under the commercial list price or of the GSA price. Given the request from the customer, and it's blacked out, and starting back in November, we had determined that the commercial list price would enable Google to offer the customer the best service and value despite the slightly higher commercial list price. There are two main benefits we are delivering under the commercial list price. It says that are not available under the GSA price. And then it pretty much, it's a business deal is what they're doing. They're negotiating prices back and forth, Google and the CIA. Okay. It says negotiable terms, customer has special terms related to support and other legal issues. For instance, we are providing support for four customer contacts instead of 2. We agreed to 30 days for destruction or failed or updated hardware instead of 10, and so on. Additionally, legal terms were negotiable under the GSA. We do not make any such changes. As I pointed out today, Google will honor the GSA prices if you'd prefer to have the standard terms afforded under GSA purchases. However, we sincerely believe the customer is getting a much better value under the slightly higher commercial price. Okay, I really suggest you go read these documents completely all the way. All right, I really, really do. Here's another Google license agreement, and this is to the CIA again. Thank you very much for your call earlier today. I promised I've attached a reverse Google license agreement for Search Appliance, as well as remaining comments on forms just fixed to John whatever earlier. Please review the attached. I will also look forward to our calls to touch base on Monday, August. Regard, Sharon LeVay, and then it's via email. This transmission may be a confidential information intended only for the person named above. Other transmission copying disclosure is strictly prohibited. If you have received this transmission in error, please note, return to us by mail. And then it gives this, like I said, there's quite a bit of stuff here. I do recommend you go read it. Okay, here's another. Same thing. Central Intelligence Agency facts cover sheet, and there's that guy's name again. This is the one I'm looking for. I believe, yep, this is the one I'm looking for here. This to me was one of the biggest smoking guns that I saw. Okay, sent Friday, September 3rd, 2004 at 5:39 a.m. to Google.com. Subject: read Google contract. My response are in the blue below. Sharon Levy wrote, I took a look through the document, and while the license and the TSS document looked fine, I did notice a couple items in commercial terms that I hadn't seen before, and I have some questions and comments. There are 2 items, and first item is the 2-year license for the unit, including support, and the second line item, the same thing, but listed as options. Okay. First response line represents the initial search appliance purchase. My technical person asked if we could add an option for additional search appliance. Should we choose to expand the Google program? Listen to that again. Should we choose to expand the Google program? Okay, we know how the CIA and the FBI and all those, the government, they always do projects and programs and operations and, okay. And a telephone conversation I had with Juan Van Verla indicated that adding an option to the contract would be fine as long as the exercise that expired within 1 year for an initial contract start date. Thus, the maximum license and maintenance agreement could run by 3 years. Year 1 and year 2 for the first search appliance, and the second and third year for the second search appliance. The payment provision says, okay, again, I recommend you go finish reading all that. Please listen to me, guys. YouTube is owned by Google. Google is in bed with the government. Whether it started out by the CIA or the FBI or NSA or anything else like that, it matters, but it don't at this point. It does, but it doesn't, because we know they are owned by Google, and Google is in bed with the government. Period. Like I've been saying over and over and over and over and over again. Please listen to me. Wake up. Unplug out of the matrix of lies. I'm just trying to help you guys. Anyway, keep my wife in your prayers. She's going in for surgery tomorrow, like I said. And I will try to make another video as soon as possible and live stream as soon as possible. But it probably won't be unless maybe short little videos here and there until she gets back up on her feet and gets back to work and stuff. And I'll do my best to keep up with you guys. But I had to get this out there and let you guys see it. And I do strongly suggest that you go check out all the links, finish reading the documents, finish watching the Julian Assange video in its entirety. I would actually recommend playing it all over again and do it full screen. And if you have to, put headphones on and really listen to it. It's very, very important. Please get this video out to everybody you possibly can. Everybody needs to see this and wake up. All right, guys? Thanks for all the love and support. Feel free to use all my links in the About Me section. Rate, comment, subscribe, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.